Hi. Um, Here I just want to make a point really of mentioning that sometimes the thing that we fear the most is the thing that we need the most, um, because sometimes people have specific fears and they sort of like don't understand why they have that fear. And I want to use a personal example here of one of my own fears, but something that was very prominent. It wasn't just an irrational fear, and it was a very strong fear of snakes. And for some reason, snakes figured in my life um, quite sort of intensely. Um, and the theme of snakes kept coming up from a very early age. I can take that as far back as when I was in my mother's womb and she was carrying me, and this was a time in India, and she had encountered, snakes 3 times. So that's where it started, but it's been very prominent throughout since then. And it was something that I began to fear very, very strongly. And, you know, lots and lots of healing work had been done. But it wasn't until I began to understand what the energy of the snake was all about that I learned to begin to deal with it in terms of a real healing sense. And, you know, I always believe that everything is like a stepping stone to something else. And so um, I read lots of things about snake energy, snake interpretations, and I got my final answer in Peru when I did the um, serpent vine ayahuasca, and it finally sort of like brought together, um, lots and lots of loose ends for me regarding this fear of snakes, and I began to understand in a real deep sense what snake magic was all about and what snake medicine was all about. And now that I am sort of learning to work with it, um, it's not sort of like so bad. And I have been working with it for some time, but going to Peru and sort of like taking the serpent vine ayahuasca was, um, taking me on another level, and it really changed so many things in my life. And the visions I had, they were amazing because it was interesting how those visions took me through many, many past lives, and healing those past lives as well, and showing me where the problems actually began, and taking me to a time that is very, very old and ancient, a time before human civilization. It was that ancient, and so that kind of like, you know, told me and confirmed to me what I had always believed, that we have been evolving basically. We weren't just put here as human beings. It was a case of evolving, and when I went back through this, vision, it was like evolving from a very, very, very ancient time, and long, long way before humans were ever sort of like on this earth. And it was very interesting that I had to go that far back um, to find the missing pieces, and to find things, that were relevant going back. So it was almost like going backwards on my journey in order to come forwards again. And sometimes that's what we have to do. And once we can understand the deep meaning and seeing the bigger picture, then that fear that once was so huge can, like become a strength, a real strength.